Welcome to the channel and this new series for Cities Skylines Parks DLC. Now this DLC was released on the 24th of May 2018 if you're watching this in the future. I've been really looking forward to playing this DLC. I've already done an impressions video which was based on a city that I was already pre-built so I could jump straight into the park ones. In this series we're going to be building a city up from scratch on one of the new maps that came out with the DLC, and I just really want to explore this new DLC because as I said, I'm really looking forward to playing it, because to me it introduces a new step change in the way this game is going and the way you develop cities, because the DLC introduces parks, but parks that can be built up as a mini game within the main game. So this provides an opportunity, one, to build quite large extensive amusement parks or nature reserves, but it also allows you to fill in all those small little areas on the map which before just had to remain vacant or you just dotted with trees and a few props. So now we'll be able to fill that in, and I'm really looking forward to that. Now I think sometimes when you build a city you do need to have an overall plan in your head like a town planner would, and what I want to do is build an environmentally friendly leisure city. That's what we're going to be aiming for in this series, but obviously we're going to go through all the steps of the development as we go forward. The other thing I will say, guys, up front is the fact that this isn't going to be exactly a tutorial, but as I build the city up I'm going to be talking about hints and tips about how you can get the best out of your city, things you need to think about on the wider scope. So if you're new to the game you might find this series useful. So I think that's enough of me rambling on about the overview. I think let's just get started. We're just going to go to new game. Now the previous three major DLCs had scenarios. If I just click here and show you guys, perhaps name, stop playing a mess. This is the scenarios that were associated with the disasters DLC. This is the one to do with the traffic DLC, and of course the ones at the top is the green power DLC, which was the last major DLC to come out. I mean obviously there's small DLCs in between. Now differently here in this DLC there is no scenario, so what we're going to have to do, guys, is we're going to have to come on to one of the new maps, and there's 5 new maps that have been released with this DLC. One's called Cavern Coast, you've got Hollow Islands, Mountain Meadows, Pine Rivers and Windfield. And I've kind of looked at all these maps. The one I actually like is Mountain Meadows. Now on first impressions from this picture it looks pretty boring actually, in the sense that it looks flat, but these pictures can be deceptive, guys. So what I suggest is if you're trying to choose a map, go in and have a look round first and start, and if you don't like it just quit back out and choose another map. So we're going to go for Mountain Meadows. I think we're going to call it Silver City just for the fun of it. It's going to be called Silver City. And now I live in the UK and obviously we drive on the left here, but I think we're going to stay with a right-handed city, and I'm going to apologise in advance when I get the road directions wrong, because obviously I'm used to driving on the left hand side. Now down the bottom here we've got resources. Don't pay too much about oil and ore, they're a bit of a finite resources, and to be honest, no matter how much you get here they will run out. To me this is an area of the game that still needs to be developed a little bit, but you will never know, they might extend the mini game to the resource production. Farming, you can see there's loads of farming. This is the yellow patches on the map, and obviously forestry is where all the trees are, so we'll probably have some farming and some forestry going, maybe a limited amount of ore and oil, but of course those don't fit in with the green theme. Water, again guys, don't be too obsessed the fact that there's not much water. As long as you've got a strong flowing river or current across your map, water is effectively an infinite resource within this game, and even if you start to get a water shortage there are ways around it. Of course we've got all the outside connections. We've got highway, we've got train, we've got ship connections, we've got plane connections, and we've got a suitable building area of 69%. So that's pretty good, guys. So we're just going to jump straight in now. Of course what I'll do is I will see you once we arrive on the map. Right guys, welcome to the map, and the first thing you want to do is pause. That's the top tip. The reason you want to pause is the fact that you've only got 70,000 credits to start with. There's not that much in the way of cash So you don't want to squander that, because the moment you build your first road, in fact we'll just build our first road, because one of the quirks of the games is you've got to unlock other options, you've actually got to build your first road. So the easiest trick is to just build it and demolish it. Yeah, the moment you build your first road, what actually happens is you start paying maintenance on the road, so you don't want that running while you're looking around laying out your initial structure for the city. Over there, oh, it's a like slight rise in the hill. See, this is what I was saying, guys, is although this map appears flat, it's not that flat. We got mountains over the side, and you can kind of have a look round the map by doing this. Some interesting mountains over there. We got the there, and of course another way you can actually check this out, guys, is if you come here, you can get an overview. So you can see we've got a rail connection there, we've got another road connection coming down to here. We've got probably these two roads connect together. This is the road entrance. This is where we will be starting our city off in this area here. And what you can do, guys, is if you come in here and spin round a little bit, then come in again, you can look at the city from different angles. In fact, that didn't flip very well, so come in this way like that, and that should flip better. Yep. So you can see we've got mountains there. Now, if you're new to the game, guys, unless you mod it, what you will get is 9 squares like this. So you start with this one in the center, you've got 9, and the overall grid I think can go up to 81, but the standard grid is 25. So when you build a city, you can build 9 squares within 25. Now when you first start, it's always tempted just to follow the tic-tac-toe grid and have 3, 3 and 3, but there's nothing to stop you coming out further in any one direction. So in fact, I'm quite interested in that. Spin this round a bit, guys, again, just so that I can have a look. Yeah, I'm quite interested in that. That's probably going to be the C connection, so we'll probably be going that way a little bit. Of course, we've got Chirper at the top here. To be honest, I don't pay much attention to Chirper, so don't expect me to go up checking these messages. Most of them tend to be a little bit kind of trivial. Anyway, guys, so we've got a good city, we've got a bit of a beach there, we got that there. I certainly would like to explore and expand that. Of course, we've got our first initial tile, and now the way you want to approach building a city is, don't think of, wow, I'm building a mega city and I need to lay out my main highways and that. Think in the way that historically cities have been built up over time. They tend to start as small villages or settlements, then they expanded and grow, and that's the way you want to approach building a city up in this game as well. Let it grow organically. Remember, anything you can build can be knocked down and reshaped, and I think, but what you do need to think about a little bit is where to put your residential, where to put your commercial, where to put your industrial. We've got our 3 zones here, which we're going to start with. And the other thing you also need to think about is power, and well, looks like we've got fairly good wind power, so we can go with the wind turbines. If this map is predominantly light coloured like this, you see you don't get much power. It's not worth building wind turbines. You can actually build a coal-fired power station. And of course, the other thing you also need to do is check your source of water. Yeah, that's pretty good. Now, one thing I will draw your attention to is, see around everything, you've got the orangey circle. That is noise. Noise actually has quite a big impact on the health of your settlement. So, and that's traffic noise and everything like that. So what you need to do is, when you're planning things, always consider the noise element. Your noisy stuff like this, try and keep away from your residents, because if health and disease is 2 things that can really affect your city, especially during the early phase when you don't have the medical facilities or extensive medical facilities to actually build stuff up. And if any of you guys have followed my previous series, I think you know what's going to happen. We're going to be building a roundabout here. I do like having a roundabout entrance here. It's a good way of getting the city up and running very, very quickly with minimum things. I'm kind of a bit tempted to come down a little bit though. I think we're going to have, normally I'd build it up there, but I think I'm a bit inclined to build here, and I think we're going to go with a 180 like this. I think if we build one down in the core of the city like this, away from the edge of the map, I think it will work in the long term. It's going to cost us a little bit more extra cash, but I think we can live with it. and of course we can, if it doesn't work, we can change it, which is the beauty of this game. It's nothing is fixed. It just takes a little bit of planning to pull things together. Can extend this road a little bit, maybe down to about there. Put that in there. Now another quick tip, guys, it's easier to go from the roundabout to the actual thing. Sometimes the freeform tool is better. Yeah, it's easier to go from the roundabout, famous last words, than from the road to the roundabout, because of the way the snapping works. Take that out. We've now got a road there, and I think my inclination is industry this side, because we've got the water and we'll have the power. Actually, to start with, we'll put that there. It means we can put wind turbines here. We won't affect there. Of course, we need to lay out the residential area first. And of course, it also means that when we get our next tile, we can expand this way out with our residential. So I think that will work. Let's just come here, and we're just gonna come out here. Again, this is very much a almost standard way that I like to build things to get the city up and running, because the cache is so tight, guys. You need to keep things fairly tight to begin with, and then you can always expand it later on. And I think we're just going to come here, and I think what we can do is if I put a go away, we put a road up like that. And what I like to do is keep all the buildings and such from away from the these entry roads, because if you put buildings on these entry roads, what can actually happen is that you get parked vehicles, and that's one area of the game that does annoy me a little bit, guys, and I'm going to be quite honest. I wish they would introduce a mini game that allows you to control parking. I mean, I think there's mods that actually let you do that, but go there. Now, next quick tip, guys, is 440. If you come here, you can do a grid. You will find that I'm a little bit OCD on my actual grid. We've got 37,000 left. I think what we can do is we're just going to zone in nice big here. I actually don't like the fill. I actually prefer the marquee option. Just going to that in like that. I think we can just now unlock the game and just let it run a little bit. Just going to run. I don't want it running at maximum speed, but we're just going to run it at 2. Of course, we need to get the power in. Yeah, no, whoops. We haven't actually connected up the power. I'm just going to come that way, and what I'm actually going to do is, well, again, this is quite a fairly. Oh, come on. Okay. Come up like that. We'll be moving the power lines around a lot over this period, and I think, oops, I haven't actually connected the road, so my residents can't get in and out. This is often an early mistake. If you don't connect your roads up, or you will get buildings but nobody will actually move into your city. So we're just going to get here. So we've now got our first little residential area up and running. I think that would be pretty cool, guys. And when you select a map and decide what to build, guys, that you want to be, the residential area wants to be the biggest of your areas to start with, simply because when you're actually initially building the city up, how can you say, push that through like that. Yeah, when you're initially building the city up, you don't get much density with the residential, so you actually do need to get it there. So we've got the population building up, we're losing money, that's okay. And of course, our first, I just want to check the milestone just to see when we can unlock parks, because I'd love to get to parks in this part. So our first one is Little Hamlet, and we need to get to Worthy Village, so we get our first tile unlock. And so it's Tiny Town, so we've got to get to a population of 1200. That's going to be interesting. Right, we've now got industrial coming in, so I do need to get working with this. I think what we're going to do is we're going to come this way. Yeah, we can see our first residents are moving in, and I've probably gone a little bit over the top with this road here. Come this way and pop this out. Do need to get going because we do need to make the cash. Oops, that distorted a little bit, but that's not a problem. And I think just get here. Right, so come here, back to like that. This is going to be our industrial area. Let's get this in. I know we got demand for commercial, but we'll deal with that, guys. Don't worry, don't worry. Again, don't let these meters drive you too much. You can build at a fairly relaxed pace. Don't, and especially even in the late game. Don't just because the meter says there's demand, just make the decision for yourself. Don't let the meters actually. Right. So I'm just gonna, and we're just gonna cross here like that. Yes, I know we got one for commercial, and of the three, commercial normally takes the lowest level of demand. Connect that through like that. That should give us power. It's residential takes up the biggest demand, then you get industrial, and then you get commercial. So we got our little commercial area here, and it means we concentrate all the noise over on this side of that. Oh, we haven't unlocked the annoying. Oh, the other thing I've forgotten to do, where I've been so wrapped up, drop that budget down. We don't need all that much power. If you push this to 110%, like this, guys. Power, night and day cycle. What will actually happen is, oops, we've got no water. Okay. We can put 440 here, just over there like that. Yeah, what you will see is that these now should be running at 9 megawatts. So you get the 10% gives you an extra megawatt of power, which is quite useful to have. And of course, eventually we will expand down this way. I mean, I'd like to get something, maybe we'll see if we can get a park in here, down here, something like that. And I think what we can probably do is come out here, just come across here. I mean, I do tend to build to a grid when we first get started, but that will break up, guys. Don't worry about it. The reason I use a grid to begin with is simply down to the fact of efficiency. In the fact that the money's tight, you can see we're making a bit of cash here, and so what you want to do is, by keeping the city compact and very close together, so we've now reached a little hamlet, and we unlock taxes, loans, garbage, healthcare and education. Right, so there's a kind of priority system in there. First thing we need to do is get in here. We're going to push our taxes up to 11%, because obviously we want to make a bit more cash. You can go higher, but I prefer 11%. I mean, you can get as high as 13, 14%. And of course, the next thing we need to do is actually go for garbage. Now, what I would say is, if you've got the money, go for a recycling centre. But because of I said I wanted to talk about the game concepts here, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to use a landfill. And normally I wouldn't use a landfill, simply because the problem with a landfill is that once you've built it, it's a very cheap option to start with. But the problem with a landfill is you've got to empty it. But I'm going to put a landfill down just so that I can illustrate that concept, guys. So landfills are pretty good in that sense. They're cheap. Just to show you here, guys. They're very, very cheap. They can see they only cost 4,000 a week, and they take up a lot of capacity. The downside is the fact once they're full up, and you're stuck with them until you can empty them. But we're going to be okay, guys. Just want to check the power. Yeah, the power's dropping. The hint for the power is down here. When you get a power shortage, you will always see it materialize in the furthest point away from your power generation is. And of course, because we've got the industry on this side, we can make as much noise on this side as we like. Just to show you guys, this is the noise map. You can see wind turbines make a lot of noise, these make a lot of noise, industry and commercial make a lot of noise, and of course since the green power DLC, traffic makes noise. You can see here these are noisy vehicles, which is the reason that eventually we will be going towards electric cars, just in order to be able to drop that bit back down again. I think what we can do is I think we can start to develop this side of the map, or this road one, or what am I saying, map. I think we can start to get our residential on this side, and what we're going to do is just put that in that side, just check the water situation. Yep, we're okay for water. So what will happen that will fill in, and of course the other thing you need to think about once you actually get your first upgrade is education. Education is a key driver when you're actually building up a city in this game. Now bear in mind you can drop down as many schools as you want, but it's not unlike other games, it's not instantaneous. Education is a long-term project. If I show you up here, where's education? This education here, you can see you get elementary schools, high schools and universities, and we've got a lot of elementary education, but if you see the breakdown at the moment, we've got no educated, no well educated or highly educated people in our workforce. We've only got 100% uneducated people. People that come in from the outside are generally uneducated, so it's a generational thing. Until our first kids get to the school, get educated, it builds up. But you do need to work on education very quickly from the beginning, simply because if I show you here, if I come here, it says educate more citizens, allow the building to be upgraded, make sure your education facilities can handle potential students. So you can see that we've now got one educated person in this building. So education is very, very important. Right, so why have we got a water shortage here? Oh, no, we're gonna have to come down 40 to down here. I'm just gonna go across like that, connect. I am very gridded with my water, so I don't follow the roads. Yes, and the other advantage of education is that the more, so we got a worthy village, we got unlock a tile, we've now got emergency services, fire, police, we got unlocked unique buildings, we've also unlocked the new specializations, we've got residential specializations, self-sufficient buildings, that's quite useful. Yeah, the other advantage of education is they produce less garbage, that takes the pressure off. They also pay more taxes, which is really, really great. So that's something else you need to consider. And I think what we need to do, and the first kind of thing you want to get down is actually fire, because fire is a bigger risk to your city than actually police. You can deal with crime, you need to get crime in eventually, but of the two of those initial services, fire, and actually we got enough cash, actually we could probably get a police department in. I tend to put them on the residential side, but nearest the roundabout like that, because that means that they can cover both sides of the city, so you can get a lot of coverage. I mean, just to show you guys, you can see it, the green shows the best coverage, but at this level, a fire brigade, as long as you don't get too many fires, you can actually will cover this side, and the same with the police. I think that's crime there, so you can see the coverage is roughly the same. And wow, we've got massive demand for residential, so I need to get cracking with the residential. So we're just going to come up here. In fact, we could probably come up this way actually and build up here, just get a bit more. And you can see I'm getting a power shortage again. You do go through very, very quickly the wind turbines. So I'm just going to drop another one. In fact, this. And one of the things is that what you want to do is always make sure you've got enough cash to build more wind turbines as and when is necessary, because if you don't, you will have problems. Oh, just going to drop that through like that. As I say, I do tend to come out in 30s. So we're just going to drop that like that, and we should be able to get this up up here and running. Get that through like that. Just yeah, we're okay for water. We can probably do something about these power cables now. We probably don't need the. Yeah, we could probably connect through here now. Connect through here like that. That means I can take these power cables out. Make sure we don't delete the road by accident. It could be embarrassing. And it means that what I can do now is just connect through here. Oops, that's a one-way street. Never mind. Upgrade it like that. Get a little bit more there. Just check the water coverage. Yeah, great. I think we're doing really well, and I think we've laid a pretty good solid foundation for the city. And sometimes when you get to this point, guys, just stop, pause and have a look at the map. See, we've got a little bit of a water problem growing here. Now that could be, yeah, these guys are a little bit off the map, so just push that out like that. Actually just have a quick look at the water, because yeah, the water's getting low anyway, so what we need to do is get into the budget, and I think we just increase the water budget a little bit. Generally don't worry too much about these budgets, guys. It's I mean, I've seen people fiddling with them, but personally I've never really found the benefit of messing about with the budgets, to be honest. And I think what we can do is we can extend our industry out this way, and we've reached Tiny Town. Great, that's exactly where I wanted to get to. I'm just gonna drop this in. Thank you. And we'll just put a bit more industry out here just to suck up that little bit of growing demand. As you can see here, commercial doesn't grow quite as fast as the other two residential. Residential's by far the biggest growth area, just to show you guys. Look, see how much bigger residential is than industry. And of course, we've now unlocked the new parks DLC, which is what I wanted to get to in this part, which is really, really great. And I think what we got here, we got a bit of cash, we've got fire, and of course, if you forget what you've unlocked, subsidized youth we got here. We got obviously the big change with this tiny town is parks. What else have we got in here? Landscaping, yeah, concerts. So we've got new services, we've got football, not going to worry about those. And of course we've got lots and lots of new policies. We'll certainly be looking at that, but that will be in the next part. I think what we can probably do is slip in a park here. I think what we're going to do is come across like that, connect a road through there. We will build a spur down here eventually. In fact, yeah, I might as well do it, guys. Bring that down like that, and just put a little marker spur in like that. I'm just gonna get back. I say don't be too worried about making everything perfect, because as I say, I will be. Oops, no. Fail there, guys. Sorry on my part. Right, let's just back here. Got to remember my shortcuts. There are shortcuts for getting to this stuff, but at the end of the day, it doesn't really make that much difference, right? So, got a little bit of a sneak through like that. So we've now got a connection through to here, and just to wind this part up, guys, I think what we're going to do is just go in. This is a new park feature, but what you need to do first is actually lay out a park. Well, there's two ways you can actually do this. You can either build the gate first and lay the park out. Actually, let's do it that way. So what we're going to do is just come. I think what we're going to do is come out. Actually, let's mark this out. So if I come to here, and oops, we're going to be knocking that down anyway, guys. So if I knock that down there, and if we keep putting that into there, take that out, and we're just going to come down here like that. So we've got this area here. This is an example. I think we'll probably build a city park. So that's what's it here, parks. Okay, we've got 29,000 to play with. So what the new DLC introduces, city parks here like this, amusement parks, zoos, and nature reserve. And then of course we've got lots and lots of props which have been introduced as part of this DLC. We're going to have some fun with those. And we've got park maintenance, but we're not going to worry about park maintenance straight away. And so we can't unlock. Hey, that's great. So we actually have to do it the proper way here. And what you've got here is a paint park and not. So what we're going to do is just paint a park in. We're going to go to the small brush, and I think we're just going to paint a park in here. I like the idea of getting down to this beach, and I think you can overlap onto residential areas. I don't think it really makes that much difference. And of course if you right click you can trim back. Just want to keep an eye that we're not losing any power. Yeah, we've got a bit of demand for, but I think we can just come through like that. So we've now created the park. That should have unlocked the entrance, and I think we'll go with a big entrance, so we'll just put a big entrance there. Congratulations, Prospect Grounds has reached level 1. The following buildings have been unlocked: Park Side Gate, Park Plaza, Park Info Booth, Park Restrooms, and Park Cafe. Okay, so, and I think what we can do now is just gonna, well, sorry about this, I suppose this is gonna, and I think we're gonna have a little bit of a kind of riverside walk, I think, and we're just gonna come in like that. Okay, please. I think we can probably come off of here. Yeah, we can have a little bit of a looking area there. Just make sure that's, yeah, we've covered that. I mean, we can expand it in there, but I just don't want to spend too much cash on this because, well, we've got a city to build. I think we could probably put a park plaza in there, which is a bit lopsided. Probably not the best place to put it. I don't know. It'll give a sea view out over, or a view out over the river. So I suppose it's not that bad. Yeah, we may end up moving that. Park Cafe. Okay, let's have a, maybe put the cafe back. Most parks need restrooms, so we're just going to drop that in there like that. I think maybe we would just drop a. Let's try this out, and I think we'll go freestyle. Oh, those are the hook points. Okay, come through like that. So this has actually got trees on it with benches. Oh, that's cool, guys. So we've got our first little park up and running. Obviously got demand for residential, so we better get this up and running. I think what I'm going to do is, I think we can afford to come back out like that. Like that. Drop another big wodge of residential in. Yeah, we've got loads of cover. Really, really great. Actually, we could probably come down another. See what I was saying, guys, is probably going to need to come out a little bit further. Like that. And as I say, you can see how far residential expands in comparison to commercial. I think what we probably can do is just get a little knot of commercial in there just to fill this space in. We can probably come up like that in there and just drop this in, and a little bit of commercial there. Of course, what we could do is drop a road in here, like road down here, and we can put a little bit more commercial on this side, because this is going to be a noisy road eventually. And of course, Okay, I've messed up that junction there, but I think we'll be okay, guys. We can just put a little bit of a cul-de-sac in here, and of course what we can have is paths, not parks. I'm thinking about the new DLC, but we can just put an ordinary path in there, and we can just drop that in. I think maybe we can have a little bit of there. We can leave a bit of a sound barrier there, and we've got 27,000. We're running 2 there, so we've got 1,800 people, and the city's growing quite nicely. We're getting a bit of a power shortage again, so we're gonna have to get a bit more power in there. What was that? Yeah, so electric production 43 against 36, so we're going to be okay. I think the next level up, once we hit the next level up, we'll have it. Or my delusional. Yeah, we get the advanced wind turbines. That's going to be quite useful. So as you can see, once we get to this level, or Boomtown, we'll be able to start expanding the city out. And we've got power situation already. Wow. Yep, okay. Now, power does fluctuate with wind. Looks like we're actually getting a drop in power, so I think what we probably need to do is we got the cash for it, so I'm just going to drop 3 of these over here. Just going to cross the river. Because technically even industrial areas don't like the noise, and just around this part off, guys, if we click here you can see well, we can drop that down here, so we can build this up. We need some visitors. We haven't actually got any visitors yet. Oh well, never mind. I'm sure people will want to come and visit our park eventually as they cross over here. I mean, we could have put it closer to the residential area, but I think people will start to visit the park and come and actually see it as part of the process. But I think this is where I'm going to leave it, guys. Hope you've enjoyed the episode. Hope you found it interesting. Oh, so we got water. Yeah. So we're going to need to increase the budget again. Just going to... and we've reached Boomtown. Thank you, Boom. Let's go and have a quick look at that after I've... Taxes. Just going to increase the budget up. Again. And as I say, just to wind this part up. So we've now got Boomtown. We've opened public transport. We've got... to do, I think this is to do with the entertainment size. Oh, that's to do with public transport. We've obviously got better roads, so we can now start developing that. We've also got there, and of course we've got the latest technology. We've also got cemeteries, so probably could drop a cemetery in. That comes up because we've now got high schools, so we're certainly going to need to work on the education. I think we should be able to. Wow, that's big. I think we can drop the education in there, because education is everything, not just in City Skylines but in real life, guys. Education is the future, despite what governments say. Is if you have a highly educated population, you have a good society. Anyway, that's something there. So we got a new tourism. Okay, we got a tourism map. Okay, interesting. Tours, yeah, well, we can have some tours, and we got park maintenance. Okay, that's something new. We'll have a look at that in the next part. But I think this is where I'm going to leave it, guys. Hope you enjoyed the episode. Hope you found it interesting. So in the next part, we're going to carry on growing the city. We're going to get a few more parks in, and hopefully we will get some more visitors in here. Still haven't got anyone actually visited our park yet, but I'm sure that will actually change over time as we get a bigger and bigger, better educated population. So until next time, whatever you do, enjoy your gaming.